Anglers Extra.
Thanks a lot, Keith. I'm standing by with Orleans manager Kelly Nicholson on a Firebirds edition of the Manager Show. Kelly, thanks a lot for doing this. How are you?
Absolutely good. Doing great, man. It's nice to be playing today.
Yeah, absolutely. After yesterday, we had a little bit of rain, but now it's a beautiful day in Chatham. You expecting a good environment here at Veterans Field?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great crowd tonight. I actually put that on Twitter today. You know, it's sunny and blue skies, and should be a great crowd here in Chatham. You know, I figured Schiff wouldn't tweet it, so I had to. You know.
Yeah, you are pretty active on Twitter. You're actually a good follow if you haven't. Coach K21, right, is the handle?
Yes, Coach K21.
Yeah, and you do some pretty funny stuff. You had that football game tweet about the 17-12 win over YD. Talk about what you use Twitter for as a coach.
Well, you know, I just use it to kind of, it's like my daily newspaper. You know, I like to go home at night and I read the Twitter feed and just kind of keep up with what's going on back home and out here. And I love following. I just saw Jen McCaffrey, and I love following Jen's stuff and the Cape stuff and your stuff, and just kind of keep abreast of what's going on out here in the Cape this summer, you know.
Well, Johns Schiffner, kind of an old school guy. He has a lot to say, but he doesn't have a Twitter. How are we going to get him on Twitter, Kelly?
Well, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, he does. You know, I'm surprised Schiff isn't on Twitter because he is one of the funniest guys on the Cape. You know, he and Stevie England. So I'm sure his tweets would be hilarious and probably R-rated, you know, because, but we'll have to, I'll talk to him, you know, I'll talk to him the next 2 or 3 days and see if we can get him on there.
We're going to have to work with him on that for sure. Now, you're talking about Schiff being a funny guy. What memories about managing against Johns Schiffner stick out to you in your time as a Cape League manager?
Well, you know, he's been the kind of my mentor up here, and we've become really good friends. I remember it was about 03 or 04, we had the All-Star game in Orleans, and I remember that we were both on the bucket. And we started having this really nice conversation. And I think both of us realized at that time how much we had in common. You know, high school educators and so on and so forth, and coaching and blah, blah, blah. And we've become really good friends. I have the utmost respect for him. He's taught me a lot, you know, watching him manage games and watching him argue with umpires and watching him have fun with his team. Couldn't be a better. He's a great representative for the Cape, and I sure hope he sticks around to get number 500, you know.
That would be pretty special if he did that. Now, the last time these two teams played in this situation was back in 2005, actually your first year as manager of Orleans. What memories do you have of that series?
Well, the vivid memory is when we were here and we got fogged out, and we had to come back and finish that game here, and then we were fortunate enough to win that game, and then we hopped on a bus and went back to Orleans, and I think it was Lee Hyde that pitched for us, and they had a big right-hander from Long Beach State. I think it was Jared Hughes.
Yeah, it was Hughes in Game 3.
It was Hughes that pitched for him, and hey, obviously I remember winning, and then, you know, we had to come right back the next day and play Bourne, and so it was a great series, but the fog thing was pretty crazy, you know, that night here in Chatham. And another thing that really stands out is my very best friend from home just showed up for the playoffs. And it was, I remember we were back in Orleans, I was out working on the field, and I hear this, hey, and I turned around, and it was Doug Fritz and his son had come out for the series. And, you know, we lost that first game at home to Chatham. I think I was telling our club that it was 0-0 in the bottom of the ninth. We had the bases loaded and nobody out and did not score, and I think they wound up beating us 1-0. I mean, it was a really tough loss. And then we came back here and we got down in the fog. You know, I think we were down 2-1 when that guy hit a home run. Our left fielder did not even move. And they canceled the game, you know, or they didn't cancel, but they, you know, suspended it. And then we had to come back and went back to Orleans, and here we are, you know, 9 years later.
You said in a quote in the Cape Cod Chronicle that there's nothing like Chatham and Orleans in the playoffs. Why is that?
Well, I really think that if you're going to play summer baseball and you're a college kid, you can't play summer baseball in any better place than Chatham or Orleans. I think they're the two best places in all of summer baseball to play. And I tell people that when people call me and ask me, hey, what do you know about Chatham? What do you know about this place? What do you know about that place? I said, hey, man, you're not going to do any better in Chatham. It's a great town. They have great broadcasters. They have great crowds. You're not going to find a better guy than Schiff. It's really a nice ballpark. And, you know, I feel the same way, obviously, about Orleans. I've been there. This is my 13th year, and it's a special place. I've met some wonderful people, and, you know, I think we have a great park and great fans. You guys are going to see a big crowd tomorrow night. In fact, I know when we get home tonight, the hill's going to be pretty full. Chairs were already being set up for tomorrow night, so you can't do any better. And I'm sure Mike Roberts feels the same way about Cotuit, but I think there's something special about Orleans Chatham.
Certainly. We're with Kelly Nicholson on a special extended edition of the Anglers Extra pregame show. Now, moving to this team, Kelly, last year you guys started off real fast, that 9-1 start. This year, though, it was an 11-1 finish for Orleans. You got that 2 seed in the playoffs. What allowed your team to go on that run to close out the season?
Well, we just started playing good baseball. We weren't playing bad baseball when we dumped 5 in a row. We were just we'd make an error here, a bad pitch here, a miscue, or just little things. To quote Bill Belichick, there are no little things, but we were making mistakes that were causing us to lose games. And then when we got on that nice run, we were just finding ways to win games. And I talked to John when they were on their good run. They started off hot. We were a little bit lucky too, and he said that Chatham was a little bit lucky early, when they were off to their hot start. And you have to have that. You've got to, I'm a big believer in you got to defend, and you got to pitch, and you got to have timely hitting. And we were starting to do all 3 of those things. And I'm a bit. The very first team meeting we had, I showed him the Tom Coughlin finish video. If you guys haven't seen it, Google Tom Coughlin, the finish video, and it's really, really moving. And we showed it to our guys. Tom Coughlin showed it to the New York Giants the year they won the Super Bowl in their very first team meeting, and was all about finishing. And we're big believers in, hey, it's not how we start. Thank God, because we were 12-17 and a half a game out of last place, and it's a good thing that they did not seed us back then. But hey, once we got going, and once we kind of inserted Will Fulmer when he got healthy, and we put him into the 2-hole, this club started to roll a little bit. Our lineup was solidified, a rotation, the back end of our pen, guys understood their roles, and we just kind of got out of the way and let them play like we always try to do. But that finish video our guys wanted to finish strong, because we know that's the most important thing. And whoever plays these next 2 series the best and finishes the best is going to run out of here with a ring, and that's what we want to do.
Well, we've got 2 pretty hot teams. Should be a good series. Thanks a lot for the time, Kelly.
Yeah, anytime, you guys. Thank you.
That was Kelly Nicholson, Orleans manager on the Anglers Extra pregame show, which continues. We send it back upstairs to Keith Zubrow.